And welcome to another episode of Dos 5incos. This is episode number 27.
You got it.
That is, wow.
Nailed it.
As always, I am your host, David.
I'm Stuart.
And I'm Ben.
Thanks for joining us for another one. As we've been doing in the last couple weeks, or the last 3 weeks, we're going to be jumping straight into our Street Sharks portion of this episode. Street Sharks. This is season 2, episode 1. I don't remember what the name of the title was.
Shark Quest.
Shark Quest,
which was surprisingly absent was a quest.
Yeah, I don't get why they called it
this episode.
Shark Quest. I mean, I get the other ones, but what was the quest?
I don't remember there being anyone issuing any type of quest.
There wasn't a quest at all.
So, as we're jumping into, as we're shark diving into this episode.
Oh, he did it.
I feel like the TV show is actually almost turning into like a radio variety show where they just constantly are just hitting the sound bites. Shark dive, Jawsome, Feeding Frenzy.
Anything to get there.
They are literally just using it because I think that they're like, well, we paid how much for these phrases?
Yeah. The show,
well, we gotta really cost these averages out.
The show is really just a vessel for shark,
Shark puns.
Yeah, shark puns. Shark, Feeding Frenzy, Jawsome, all the everything. It's just a vessel.
They just write the plot around that.
Shark attack. So, guys, thoughts on this episode?
I think they must have got an influx of funding for season 2 because the production value is night and day from season 1.
Seriously.
Like the animation is a lot smoother, a lot cleaner. The music is a lot more higher production value.
Wait. Actually,
it's a lot more rocking.
If we're talking about the animation, there was a part where kind of irked me when they're playing pool, right? Did you see that? David, did you see the pool balls? Did you see the pool balls? How many pool tables do you see are all stripes? Including the 8-ball is a stripe.
Maybe he's so good that he got rid
of
all
okay.
the solids
He's just
first.
that good that all of them are striped when he breaks. But when he goes...
Or maybe he just ate all of them because he thought they were gumballs.
Oh,
I don't know. He's a shark.
Right.
Actually, sharks can't actually see solid colors. They only see in stripes.
Oh, okay.
So we're actually seeing from their perspective the pool tables.
Right. So that's why in
shark
the next
fact.
scene when he's playing again, it's the one magically turns into a solid.
Yeah, because we're watching it from Ben's perspective. The sidekick.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And then when it goes in, it's a stripe.
Yeah,
again.
it's pretty obvious, Ben. Like, I don't see why you have to get hung up on it.
He goes for another ball, and the one's magically back.
Yeah, because we switch back. All right, Jesus, like get with it, Ben. It's not rocket science.
It might as well be because I don't understand what the fuck is going on.
I thought there was one thing that noticed. You guys are talking about production value. Did anybody notice that Dr. Paranoid or Dr. Paradigm, his voice is different than season 1? Did they get a new voice actor?
It sounds
like it.
Sounds a lot different.
Definitely sounds like it.
Okay. Before we shark dive out of this one, favorite moment or favorite character?
Well, my favorite moment was not actually part of the episode. It was part of the new intro.
They buy.
Definitely. This is where we were talking about last week, where I didn't how come I got 2 different, Street Sharks theme songs, and this is why, because season 2 has the new high production value one. But it was at the end of the intro where you just see Streaks playing drums for a half a second.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys caught that, but that made me laugh. I don't know why.
And it says Street Sharks on it.
Yeah, and he's got Streaks in the back just jamming out on the drums. That was my favorite part. I'm looking forward to whatever episode that part actually happens in.
What if it goes the entire series?
Then
and
I'll
you
be
never get the...
I'll be beside myself, David.
Okay, all right. We'll make sure to. I'll send in a letter. Be like, hey, can you promise me that we actually get some drumming action, or else we're gonna lose Stu's viewership.
Wait, are
forever.
you sending it to? Are you sending it to YouTube or?
Yeah. You're gonna send it to
Viacom?
Street the Deke, right? They're the ones who do this, right? You know, at the end.
Yeah.
Deke.
All right, Ben.
I gotta say, my favorite part was when they were arguing with the police officer, right? And he says,
Oh.
"No, you're coming with me." And he just like puts one handcuff on one of them. And I don't remember which ones they were, but the two sharks looked at each other and just like, "Oh no!" And it's just like it was just one handcuff on one hand. They could easily break out of it, and they're just like, "Oh no, we're doomed."
And doesn't he break out of it by? Doesn't what's the hammerhead's name? Oh,
Jab.
Jab. Doesn't he get out of it by just like, oh, I'll show you?
I think
then
he just
like,
chomps it.
he
Yeah.
chomps it, and he goes,
Yeah.
he's free. He goes, you got it all wrong. We're not the ones. Blah blah blah. For me, favorite character was the security guard at the.
Oh man,
store.
his voice acting.
I don't even want to try, but I just was like, what was happening to this guy?
Every line was getting more intense.
You gotta get out.
Yeah. No, you
That's
said you
as
did.
close-
You said you didn't want to try, and yet you still did.
I couldn't help it. It just came out. So yeah, tune in next week. We'll be covering the second episode. We'll see how many episodes we can get through before
All of them.
Yeah, before we decide that we want
All of
to
them.
switch
Easy
over to
answer.
some other. Yeah, fine. All right. We switch over to some other nostalgia. I was engaged on Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Metallics?
I had a conversation. Yeah. No, the first first season first, and then they turn into Metallics. But really glad we just made a super fan out of James Chatham. He's one of my coworkers. We started talking about it, and the fact that you know what that is, Ben, and I'm sure Stu also knows what that is because he was also he was also raised in the '90s. That'll make him extremely happy when he gets to hear this episode about,
Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Yeah, Big Bad Beetleborgs, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. But he was just telling me about how they borrowed some of the scenes from their specialty is that they borrowed a lot of the fight scenes from the Japanese version, and they just kind of just chopped them into the show.
Isn't that all those shows? Isn't
Power
that all
Rangers.
what they do?
Did they do all that? Oh,
Power Rangers, VR
yeah.
Troopers.
Oh, VR Troopers.
Mystic
Dude,
Knights
they
of
had a
Tokyo.
car that opens the doors and it flies.
I had that one. I had
Yeah,
that
but
one as a kid.
But it's even more jarring because of the fact is Big Bad Beetleborgs is like the kids that are like under 12. Maybe they're 9 or 10 or something.
Yeah, it's like
that. I
Power
don't
Rangers
remember.
Turbo.
But then when I didn't watch.
Well,
Power
one of them
Rangers
was
Turbo.
like that, and he magically grew up.
Where they're like kids, and then all of a sudden they magically grow up to become adults.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, when they
Yeah.
transform. Okay. Well, I'll leave you to do some research on that. So we're gonna jump straight into our box office rundown. I don't know if this is considered a surprise or not, but a newcomer to the a new challenger. Number one is Sonic the Hedgehog with $58 million
Hey,
as a Valentine's Day
Yeah.
surprise.
it's a very
two-
sensual movie.
Number two is Birds of Prey: Harley Quinn or Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that
Birds
one.
of Prey. I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah, what do we want to call it? And the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Number three, Fantasy Island with 12.3. The Photograph at number 4 with 12.18. Bad Boys for Life drops from number 2 to number 5. 1917 slides from 3 to number 6. Number 7, actually in the top 10 since the last time it was here, is Parasite,
Yeah.
the Oscar-winning, Best Picture. With $5.6 million. Jumanji: The Next Level is still holding strong.
Damn.
Number 8, down from number 5. Doolittle down from number 4 is now number 9. And a newcomer to the top 10 is Downhill with 4.6. Our movie from 2 weeks ago was The Gentleman. That's at 2.7. That falls out of the top 10. And Little Women, Gretel and Hansel, and Knives Out, and Star Wars Episode 9 all fall out of the top 10. Gentlemen, any comments, questions, concerns?
I will say that, well, I I thought that Parasite was gonna do a little better, and I am a little surprised that it got back into the top 10. Yeah,
Oscar
well,
bump?
it's an Oscar bump, and the fact that they released it onto more theaters because of that Oscar bump. They released it into a bunch of theaters.
2,000 to be
Damn.
exact.
Yeah, so I'm glad it's doing well. It definitely deserves it. Really like that film. Now for Harley Quinn, man, ooh, things are not looking good for Harley Quinn. It is. Ew. I mean, if we're comparing it to the other DC movies, it is definitely at the very bottom, even though it has a better critic score, I would say.
So you think maybe it just doesn't have as widespread?
I think it was the marketing. I think it's
acceptance?
just the marketing, honestly.
Oh, because a lot of people probably thought it was a movie, an auto. What is it? The Nature Autobahn
Yeah,
or whatever.
like that.
It's not Autobahn.
The Nature
I know what the
Autobahn.
Wait,
No, I know what Autobahn is, Stu. I know why you're giggling because I know I screwed up what it's actually called, but you know what I'm talking about. What is it actually? No, not that.
It's when animals go really, really fast for long distances in Germany. In
No speed limit.
Not a
Germany.
No
speed
speed
limit.
limit.
yeah,
Oh my
no speed
gosh.
limit.
I really don't know what I'm looking for.
I don't even know what you were trying to say.
What the hell's a
I
Nature
don't know either.
Autobahn?
All right, Stu, any thoughts? Surprised? Are you surprised that? Okay, since we were talking about Birds of Prey, and that's our movie of this week, they're gonna have a tough time. Do you think they're gonna be able to recoup their $89 million it costs to be able to
No.
produce this film?
Unfortunately, no. It looks like it's
Oh.
going to be a tax write-off.
Sorry, Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I am pretty surprised that in just the first week, Sonic has
Made more.
almost made more than the Birds of Prey movie has total gross.
Yeah, because it's Sonic. It's Jim Carrey. And it's our movie of next week, right? Right?
Yeah,
I'm in for
Okay,
that.
cool.
yeah. I mean, there's nothing else
All
out, right?
cool. I guess it is. Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm good.
I think.
Well, it's not that much of a stretch since Ben has already probably seen it twice by the
true.
time we get
Try
to it.
3.
I forgot to redeem my $4 Sonic movie ticket
Oh,
from T-Mobile.
no.
From Adam? Adam?
Yeah,
Oh, dang.
I claimed it and I didn't do anything with it.
What?
So
Okay.
serves me right.
All right. Well, I'm sure if this was like pre-episode 20 Ben, he'd probably be saying, "I'm not surprised. Sonic the Hedgehog is a G-rated movie. It was a holiday weekend. Lots of kids and their parents went to go see the movie, and it's animated / live action." Not
Yeah, see, I don't even have to tell you
That's
anymore.
number one.
You already know it.
Yeah, just take five, Ben. Let David do this.
Excellente. Stu, any other thoughts about this top 10 surprises?
No, it doesn't look like it. I mean,
Okay.
Fantasy Island. That's supposed to be a horror movie or scary movie, right? Or I don't know if scary movie, but I don't know what scary movies are these
I
days.
think they stopped making those movies. I think it ended with 5.
Yeah,
Or was it 6? No, I think there was a 6.
It says Fantasy Island, a horror adaptation of the popular 70s TV show about magical island resort. I think it was like one of those like contestant shows, right? Where
okay.
like Fantasy Island, where they all go
welcome
together
to
and then-
Fantasy Island.
where all your dreams will come true. I don't know. All right, we ruined it for everybody. Okay, great. Okay, so we're just gonna jump straight into our movie of the week. this
Hang
week,
on,
which is
hang on
Oh,
a goddamn minute, David.
go ahead, Stu.
We have been all on the gas, and we need to pump the brakes here
Yeah.
a little bit.
David.
Huh?
Ben and I we have something that we need to get off
Yeah.
our chest. Something that's been eating us to our core since last week when we forgot to talk about
Yeah.
it.
Oh, please do. You and Ben both have the floor. Go ahead.
We went to go see The Room,
Oof.
but not just a regular room
no.
showing. This was the fabled, I don't even know what you call it.
Experience.
It was the Room experience where, man, it was great. It was like being in Mystery Science Theater live. Like it was an interactive room experience.
Yeah.
Like, Ben, can you elaborate for me?
Oh man, like pretty much everyone there, everyone in there knew what they were in for, like it was just pandemonium. Everyone was just screaming and yelling the whole time. People were like chucking things at the screen, like people were running around. Everyone had all these cues and shit. Like everyone knew. It's indescribable almost of how much of a good experience it was.
It was one of the best movie experiences I've ever had. So there's a scene. I don't know if I don't know if I want to give away too much about it, but I don't know if you've ever heard about it, but this is apparently a thing that's been going on probably since when the movie came out, where people they come and everyone's just shouting and riffing on the movie. Everyone's just got these things, and I'm really excited to go see it again. See this again.
How often do these events happen?
I'm not quite sure, but the one we went to in Santa Ana, there's another one on March 14th. So mark your calendar because we're fucking going to that one.
Okay. All right. So is it kind of like reminiscent of like the Rocky Horror Picture Shows and just like the experience, like the whole thing's like an experience?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, except I feel like this one is a lot rowdier. A lot more.
Yeah, you don't have to dress in drag either. So.
I mean, you could dress up. Though.
That's a plus.
You can dress up.
I mean,
it's dressing up is encouraged. I'm sure.
I mean that guy did.
Participation also very much encouraged. Which character did you dress up as? Were you Tommy?
Well, I didn't have my tux, so.
For those who are, listening to our podcast about movies, I'm hoping that you know what The Room is. If you watch any films, this is one of them you should have already put in your backlog, so at least have an idea of what's going on. So March 14th, you said?
Yeah, Saturday, March 14th, 10 p.m., downtown Santa Ana. Frida Theater. Shout out to Frida.
Ticket prices?
I have no idea.
$10. Yeah.
What? Wow. Is there any encouragement to bring
things? We put it in the chat.
What would you... okay.
Oh, okay. So... Supreme Oreos?
Yeah.
And spoons?
Yeah, 1,000 spoons.
Just show up with a lot of plastic spoons. You're going to want a lot.
Okay, any other tips for our room experience virgins?
I think it's best if you go in knowing as little as possible about the experience itself. What I'm not sure of is if it would be better to have never seen The Room before, or if you are aware of what The Room is.
I think it would help beforehand.
At least knowing at least watching it once, not knowing it in depth, I think would help. Knowing I'm expecting something that possibly could happen at this point, and then seeing what they've done with it. I think that's a good way to look at it. But I think there's a lot of people who have already seen The Room, so like going in completely blank canvas might be a whole different experience altogether.
I think you might, if I'm trying to imagine someone who's never even heard of it showing up to it and just being like, God, I wish everyone would be quiet so I can follow the story. But it would probably be best to at least be a little aware of it being that silly movie that is just known for being awful.
What about the adaptation or the movie about Tommy Wiseau's life, filming the movie that was done by James Franco? Is that necessary?
No, because that's just kind of, it's not. I would say that's not necessary. Not a prereq for this.
Okay, all right. Well, I look forward to that. It sounded like you guys had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
with that, and you guys are obviously very interested in doing it again, and I'm sure. The second time around is I feel like you guys are part of like this club almost now that you guys are like trying to initiate other people into. I think that's actually kind of cool. So I look forward to it.
I mean, I'm looking forward to getting more experience, getting my experience up because when we're there, and I'm curious if we're going to see the same antics. I'm sure we'll see a lot of the same antics, but is everything going to be quite the same, or will be different people have different riffs and takes on things to say? That's what I'm kind of excited for.
Okay, well, I'm sure you guys will be able to go, oh, this was a way different experience than blah blah blah, or oh, it was the same. So I look forward to getting some of that feedback. So stay tuned. I'm pretty sure we'll just do a special episode just around that, just to be able to talk about a little bit of the experiences that were had by the two of you. You guys can talk about how it was before, how it was on your second try, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Perfect. All right. Well, with that reprieve, we'll just jump right into our movie of the week this week. Thank you guys for your. Well, actually, let's do this. Since you guys gave us a little bit of background on it, what would you guys rate in terms of, like, if you had to give it a rate?
The experience or?
This experience plus movie. You can do them separately.
Well, we
movie
know
on its own. Blah blah blah.
Well, we know the movie on its own is not going to get, if you're not looking at it for what it actually is, like if you're actually trying to view
cult classic, you mean?
Yeah, if you're not viewing it through the lens of it being a cult classic, then it's probably probably one of the lowest scores of any movie ever.
Yep, and you could probably Google that pretty easily. So we'll go with experience. Ben.
The experience, man. If I can give anything higher than a 10, I would. I totally would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stu?
I concur. This was
Holy
the second
crap.
10 out of 10, with the first one being 1917. But this whole thing was just wow. The entire time, it was just a great time.
Well, it's not a 3D experience; it's a 4D experience, right? You guys
You're
are
just living in
participating. You guys are You're watching it. It's watching you. You're doing stuff. It's doing stuff to you. I'm sure. Yeah, it sounds great.
Like there was one part where someone said something. Someone just shouted something out at the screen, and I was laughing for like 20 to 30 seconds.
I remember.
Just from the one thing someone said.
It's amazing.
Which I don't want to give away.
Nope.
Because...
Don't. Yep. I think that's that's a good place for us to stop. So, a little blurb is be there on March 14th.
Yep.
We'll be there.
Downtown Santa Ana.
All right. Yep, we'll be caught up on episodes by then, right, guys? And they'll be able to get this.
Totally.
This notice. All right, perfect. If not, tell everybody. So we'll jump straight into our movie of the week this week. No matter what you call it, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, or Birds of Prey : Harley Quinn, or Harley Quinn : Birds of Prey. Ben, what is it about?
A wealthy San Francisco socialite pursues a potential boyfriend to a small Northern California when birds of all kinds suddenly begin to attack people. Oh, that's a synopsis for the birds. Sorry. Okay, a horde of mutated birds. That's birdemic. Okay, a married woman realizes how unhappy her marriage. That's Eat, Pray, Love. That is Eat, Pray, Love. A washed-up superhero actor attempts to revive his fading career by directing...
Hancock.
Nope, that's Birdman. That's Birdman.
Oh shit.
That's right. Detective Carter and Lee head to Hong Kong for a vacation, but become embroiled in a counterfeit money scheme. That's right. That's Rush Hour 2. You know what? I don't got anything. I don't got it. I don't know what this is because the title. I don't know what to look for.
Yeah, what part is it that you're supposed to focus on? And I think that's part of the thing that everybody else, that you were talking about with us, is that there was so much confusion about what kind of movie this is. Can you go into that?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's called Birds of Prey: The Fantabulous Emancipation of a Harley Quinn, and Harley Quinn's name at the end. And everyone I've talked to, well, that isn't following this movie to the T, that's heard of it, doesn't even know it's a DC movie. It's I think it was very poor marketing on its part. I, for one, have rarely seen any commercials for it, and I do know that the very first trailer that came out for it didn't even give any kind of glimpse of what the plot was about or anything. It seemed like a fashion shoot almost of Margot Robbie kind of prancing around and showing off the new new costume for Harley Quinn, along with some other cast members. It was kind of confusing. I'm like, what is this movie about? I don't even know. Am I supposed to be excited for this? So I think the marketing was really all over the place, and them holding the trailers until very close to release, I don't think that helped either. So I would say this is probably a slight against the marketing guys on this one, because I mean it did pretty well with audiences and with critics, so I don't know what happened.
You think it was maybe it was trying too hard to be kind of like the title wise, or trying to pitch it almost like this, I don't know, trying to almost like Deadpool. I don't know if that the way to explain it, but it's like almost like kind of like Deadpool-esque with the marketing campaign.
Kind of. I feel like they just don't know what they're doing at this point, because it seems like the creative team or the creative collective for the DC movies or the DC universe is really up in arms, and they're just like, okay, it's been like how many years since we started this stupid thing? We need to do something with it. So they're just like throwing a whole bunch of ideas at the wall, and it's like, okay, let's try this, let's try that, let's try to appeal to this crowd or this crowd or this crowd, and it's a weird thing, because the one movie that like they butchered the most and stabbed to death was their most successful, which was like, well, Suicide Squad, which is really dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I guess that wasn't the most successful one, but it was pretty damn successful for what they had, I would say.
In terms of dollar wise, not great.
Actually, for dollar wise, I think it was Aquaman that was the most profitable.
Oh, I enjoyed that one quite a bit though. Yeah, but I think I agree with you. It seemed like it was all over the place. It was trying to be too many things. Harley Quinn obviously is the screen grabber. That should have been the first thing that was across the headline. That probably would have helped it a little bit. I think on its own as a movie, I thought it was okay. Birds of Prey, I think, required a lot of background, because I think that's not a very that's not the most popular group. And some of the names that got dropped in there, in terms of like characters and stuff like that, I was like, oh, I've heard of that one in this other DC related TV show or whatever. One being like, if you watch any of the stuff or you read any of it, it's like Huntress and Laurel Lance. I mean, if you didn't watch Arrow or like Flash, you'd probably be like, who the hell are those two? And after like it's like many seasons to be able to get that part. But so I can kind of have a feeling for what I think you're gonna say about it. So I'll leave some room for Stu. Stu, what were your thoughts on Birds of Prey or?
So I went into it not really familiar with the expanded DC universe. So I just kind of assumed that the Birds of Prey were like a group. It's like Avengers or the what are they called in Guardians? The Ravagers, or not Ravagers. No, not the Sly Stallone.
Ravagers. Right?
No, it was him and like his group of friends. They were like a squad. Ravagers was the gang.
I don't know.
It was the shit.
The Expendables.
That one.
There you go. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay.
Rambo.
Anyways,
Rocky.
Yeah. Nighthawk.
The Judge Dreds.
Yeah, the Judge Dreds.
Continue your thought.
I don't even know if I had a thought, but I just kind of went in expecting just like a Harley Quinn movie, and then like the Birds of Prey would be kind of just kind of explained to me, and I guess it kind of was. But for the most part, I was kind of mixed on this movie. I felt like for the number of things that in it that I liked, there were like, for every one thing I liked, there was probably like two things I didn't like. So I'd probably give it a 6.5.
Okay, Ben?
Yeah, kind of similar with Stu. I mean, it was very uneven for me. It's very stylish. It was just all over the place. And I get that. I think that's one of the shticks that they're going for. That Harley is, she's narrating the movie and she's a little scatterbrained, right? So, of course, there's stories all over the place. But I mean, at the same time, if you're looking at the story underneath it and connect all the pieces, it still is a scrambled mess. Everyone's spread so thin. They're trying to introduce all these different characters all at the same time. and you have like no background information on any of them, and they just come off as like really not even 2-dimensional, just like 1-dimensional almost, if that could be a thing.
It felt almost like Suicide Squad again,
Yeah.
where like Suicide Squad was just, there was just too many people in it.
Yeah, it even had the same like graphics and all the same, you know, little
art style.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's like I'm very split on it, but I won't, you know, I can't lie and say I did not enjoy some of the parts. And it's not that some parts were done extremely horribly bad. It's just that some of it was a little bland or confusing to me. So I would have to say, yeah, like a 6 for me.
Okay. Well, I'm along the same lines. I would give it a 6. It was entertaining, but I felt like you guys were... I couldn't put my finger on it, trying to figure out why I felt kind of almost like it was very jarring. But then you guys nailed it on the head. Like, literally, it's like, boom, here's this character. Da-da-da-da-da. Wait, hold on, let me go backwards. Oh, wait, boom, there's this character. And if you were to take all of the pieces, like you were saying, and you were to put it into like a just like linear kind of movie, it's like, oh, this is how we got from start to end. You may have maybe 25 or 30 minutes of a movie in terms of like actual timeline if you didn't do the backtracking and the... I feel like I was talking to a coworker of mine. They were saying like, oh, they felt like it was really like scattered. I know what they were trying to accomplish with this movie, right? You want to establish baseline. You want to establish, oh, these guys weren't supposed to kind of team up or whatever. And at the end of the day, you know, girl power. But at the same time, it's just like it was trying to do too many things. It should have just been, if it was a Harley Quinn movie about, you know, her kind of venturing on her own, let her do it that way. That should have been it, right? Trying to introduce all these elements, just it tried to appeal to too many things, and I think it lost its way when that did.
Yeah,
that.
I agree.
Okay. Any other generalized thoughts you guys have before we jump into the spoiler zone?
In terms of the fight scenes and everything, there were a few that are like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I would say that, you know, the fight scenes were definitely choreographed. You know, it wasn't just a whole bunch of shaky cam, cut, you know, nonsense. But a lot of the times I was looking at these fight scenes, I'm like, man, this is really bland and kind of uninteresting. You know, it's not very imaginative or anything. I mean, some fight scenes had it. Some were really cool, like the first shootout scene with Huntress. Oh, right. Right.
Spoilers.
Who said that? Man, need some
sorry,
water?
something in my throat.
Yeah,
water? Hang on, let me drink this.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, other than that,
Spoilers. Oh, I didn't get it.
Oh man,
Still back. It's a tickle. You know, that's what it is. It's tickling.
You got that checked out. It might be coronavirus or something.
Yeah. Ben, can you go grab Stu a glass of water
sure.
while I ask Stu some other questions? Sure. Yeah, Stu, any other generalized thoughts before we jump into the spoiler zone?
No, I think we should just dive on in.
Okie dokie. Oh, before we do that, let's let's protect some of our listeners if they don't want to have this movie spoiled, but they want to know what movie we're gonna watch next. I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement. It's gonna be Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes. Okay. Cool. Excellent.
I hope they play Green Hills Zone.
Oh Jesus, that would be amazing. 10 out of 10.
I bet the entire movie is just that on loop for an hour.
Although if they do that or Chemical Zone, damn, that's it. Game over.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
That's when the hype starts. Although I hope they don't do it like when we saw Power Rangers where they brought back the original theme for like a half second.
No, it needs to be like just interwoven throughout the film.
You need to literally lean into this. Lean into the nostalgia. Yeah. Okay, we're going to enter the spoiler zone. Thank you, Ben, for picking up a glass of water. Stu, I hope you're okay.
Yeah, I think I'm good now.
Excellent. All right, we're jumping into the spoiler zone. You have been warned. You already know what our movie of the week is. If you don't want it this week to be spoiled, then we'll see you guys next week. And then always come back and listen to it again so that way we get credit. Sounds great. Okay, perfect. All right, we're in the spoiler zone. All right, Ben, you were talking about what... what was it about your the first encounter between Huntress and Harley Quinn?
When they were going back and showing what happened during the shootout between some people at a restaurant, I guess? I'm for sure.
Oh, that she was lining up to kill the mafia family that took over?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not really sure. I just know that it was the policewoman, and she was like trying to recreate the crime scene, and just shows her walking in and doing that quick little shootout. I thought that was set up and executed pretty well. You know, it was really short. It was really sweet, but they knew what they were doing, and it translated really well into that one particular scene. But however, every other scene, I can't really remember too many fight scenes where I'm like, oh yeah, that was really cool. I remember there were a lot of fight scenes. I just don't really have any ones that are extremely memorable, except like, oh hey, Harley Quinn is doing cocaine and she's fighting people. That one was pretty nice. That's it though. That's about it.
Was it just okay? Since you mentioned that, I felt like that first scene kind of reminded me of. I don't know if this sounds blasphemous or not, but it kind of felt like it borrowed some elements from John Wick. Like that first scene, right, where it's like very technical. It got very technical, and I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be really good." And then I think what you're talking about is a drop off. That literally, that setup, because that happens at the very beginning of the movie, and I was like, "Dang, we are in for a freaking treat." And then all of a sudden, every other fight scene looks like it was like done by somebody who had no idea how to put together a fight, or maybe that was what they were going for. Is that Huntress is supposed to be like this really really calculated, like tactical, like very like assassin sound killer, who's had years and years of training, lots of like premeditated thoughts of how she's gonna do it. And then every other fight that has Harley Quinn in it, even though there's certain portions where I'm like, whoa, that was pretty intense. That was like pretty creative in how it's done. But I feel like there's creative elements that are peppered in, but it feels like the person who put together those choreographed fight scenes either just gave up or they gave it to somebody else and said, well, these were ideas that somebody else had, but unfortunately you're going to have to execute them.
So
does that kind of sound about right?
So it's funny you say specifically John Wick, because guess who was brought in to actually oversee in an uncredited role fight scenes?
Keanu Reeves.
No!
Chad Stileski.
What?
Yeah. Chad Stileski, or otherwise known as the director of John Wick series. Yeah.
Very good.
Wow. So I picked it up. Oh man, that's
I know,
cool.
right? So I mean, there's definitely his elements in there. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it was just because he was just brought in as someone to oversee the action scenes, and not really taking a big role. He helped a little bit and didn't put too much effort into it, but I was definitely getting those vibes from it. It had some of that element and some of that energy of John Wick, where it's like very raw and visceral, but still very choreographed, and that you could see everything that's going on.
Like it had a certain sharpness to some of the movements, and then some of the like the way that the scenes were put together. But then there was also some parts where I was just like, who put this together? Is this a home video?
I don't know if you guys are on the same boat as me as far as this goes. I'm in agreement, but I want to see if we're talking about the same type of scenes. Like, one of my favorite fight scenes was when Harley Quinn enters the police station with a grenade launcher.
Oh, that was badass.
That was one of my favorite ones, mainly because it's because I'm a stickler for this, but like it was very well done, well kind of planned out for how many rounds she had. And they're showing you like you can clearly see how many grenades she has on her belt. So each time she reloads and shoots someone, and then plus each grenade is either like some kind of colored smoke or glitter or like a glitter bomb. That was pretty cool. And just like the way that she would either shoot someone with it and then like use the grenade launcher as a weapon, and then like in the same motion reload it and then shoot it again at someone. That was just I really enjoyed that scene.
I really enjoyed that scene, but at the same time the stickler in me is like, how was she able to get through this police station without like
nobody else getting there? You mean there's
nobody
like
else?
It's a place full of cops and everything. I'm just watching her do this, or everyone goes at her with a baton.
Maybe because they're maybe if you listen to people these days on the YouTube comments and the news comments, they're doing exactly what they would want police to do, is not use their guns.
Yeah, non-deadly force.
Yeah,
even though she has
non-lethal.
She has a weapon and she's aiming at them.
It's her weapon's non-lethal though.
Yeah, because she was shooting beanbags at people.
Yeah, beanbags and smoke bombs.
But could they ascertain that very quickly in that situation though? Did they?
All right, Stickler and you is correct.
I
don't know. I see a grenade launcher, I'd be like, Screw this.
I would say I would agree, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that once she started shooting smoke and glitter to obscure the entire scene from anyone else looking in, then perhaps maybe then they wouldn't really know what's going on.
Because they didn't want to maybe shoot an innocent bystander.
I can suspend my disbelief
I can see that.
for that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it because it was just so dang.
Yeah,
fun
it was.
to watch.
It was.
I was just like,
I will give you that. It was very, very fun to watch that scene.
Yeah, so I agree with you, Sue. That was awesome. The fact that like they had kind of like, yeah, that was a really well done scene.
I think for me, where it started falling apart though is where you guys are talking about is kind of towards the end once you start having everyone fighting to like at the same time.
Oh yeah, and that circle thing with like all the, like, the hands
that was really
and stuff.
weird.
And it's just like, dude, you're surrounded and there's 4 of you. How the
Also, Ben, if you want to talk about, how come the cops didn't do, whatever, there are like 100 or 200 dudes at the end of the movie. I'm sure most of them have guns.
Like, what was that? What was that?
How come they didn't use any of the guns?
Yeah, nobody who went inside had a gun.
No. Let's back up a little bit further. Why were there so many fucking people there? Okay, if we're looking at this from a plot perspective, like, it was just supposed to be Harley Quinn with a girl, right? And then, Black Canary and Victor Zsasz was supposed to go and, like, pick her up and, like, kill Harley, right? That's it. So why did he bring up?
But he told her that that she betrayed him, and so I'm sure that they probably figured that they were gonna like team up together.
So he brought a whole army.
All right.
I think it's a major plot hole.
I wouldn't say plot hole. It just doesn't seem very logical.
Plausible.
Yeah, plausible. I mean,
plausible.
I mean, it's just that. Yeah, that whole end sequence just really fell apart because it was just like, why are these people fighting together? How come the cop lady can fight? What's her superpower? She has like handcuffs. Is that it? She has handcuffs. Great.
Her superpower is the law
that she doesn't have because she turned in her badge and her gun. So she has nothing.
Classic.
I thought it was trying so hard to be tongue in cheek, but then at the very end, I was just kind of like. I feel like they wanted to show off that like Harley Quinn could do a movie on her own, but at the same time that she's nothing without the Joker. I don't know if that's the way I should have interpreted it, but that's the way it felt to me.
I don't know. I was getting very mixed signals from this movie.
Yeah, I think it's a little ironic that they spend the whole movie saying how like, oh, Harley Quinn, you can't stand on, you need the Joker, blah, you can't stand on your own, and then they kind of force this ensemble together. And honestly, I think that this movie would have been better if it was just a Harley Quinn movie and not a Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah, it was definitely like way too many characters, way too spread thin for it to have any kind of substance for me. Because you don't really get to know any of the other characters, really. I mean, you get some bits and quips from each of them, and it's just like, ha ha ha, that's such a thing about them, but it's very superficial.
Yeah, and then they turn out to be like this vigilante group that like fights crime all of a sudden. I was like, what makes you think that they shouldn't have just like, I don't know, turned into a villain group? I thought that's the way this was gonna go, is that the 4 of them were gonna all work together and then they were just gonna become this like super villain group.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever seen or read anything about Harley Quinn being a like a good guy or good person, like on the side of justice, which almost was like borderline. That's what she was doing, or even associating. Like, she seemed like she was on pretty good terms on the group who was starting to fight crime, but like she herself is a criminal.
Well, she just can't help it. That's Harley Quinn.
And one of the scenes, though, I really did like was watching that guy make the egg sandwich.
That scene was amazing.
Oh,
I wanted
that
an
was
egg sandwich.
probably my favorite
felt
scene.
so much pain for her.
Oh yeah, the whole thing when she's trying to eat it, and then that was probably the biggest tragedy.
I
of
know,
that movie.
seriously, like all that effort, all that. Oh man, that looked like such a great sandwich too. I don't even know how they like made it look so good, like the fried egg and everything. It was just like, oh my god.
Oh, it's because it is good. Damn it.
I can't wait for the Babish video for that.
Oh yeah,
seriously.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Any other thoughts before we go ahead and wrap this one up?
Did you guys stick around for those stinger?
I mean, I heard about it. I didn't really want to stick around.
Yeah, I looked at it. I was when I was in the theater. I was kind of like I was looking on my phone to see what it was. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll stay for this. And then I guess there was like a kid, a dad, and like a family, small family, and they were tossing like they were waiting for the stinger too, and so but they were tossing like the kid's toy stuffed animal around, and I wasn't paying attention. All of a sudden, I look up and I see this stuffed animal just come flying at my head.
What?
And I guess because she like threw it up and straight into the air, or at least she thought she threw it straight in the air, but it ended up like going back towards me.
Nice.
So I got hit in the face with a stuffed animal.
Nice.
Just stick around for a stinger. That I was like
in the face.
Yeah. I was like, I'll stick around for something Batman related, but I wish they would have shown some kind of Batman though, like even just like a little bit, just like he's jumping off, running away, or
just a little hit, just a tiny hit,
just a little hit, just a little bit, like Joker didn't do it, and this one didn't do it. Come on, let's get some Batman, like the whole, like, let me put it to you like this: in the beginning of the movie when she blows up the Ace chemical plant. How the fuck is Batman not going to show up to that
seriously.
scene?
Or to any of this, really. I mean, just like come on.
Come on, Bats.
Well, if we're getting a new Batman, so, I mean, Ben Affleck's out.
I know. Who would you have to shoot that scene?
It didn't even have to be one of the actual actors. It could have just been, like, a glimpse of some guy in a bat suit.
Oh, yeah. It's like perched on a gargoyle.
Or, like, arriving just as the scene is ending. Or, like, Harley Quinn's scene is ending and Batman arrives right afterwards. Or something like, you see or even just the Batmobile.
Yeah. Oh, yep. I was going to say, I was like, oh, that would have been perfect. Yep. I would have definitely been happy with that. I guess before we close this one out, did they really explain why Harley and the Joker broke up?
No.
Wasn't it?
So we're just supposed to.
Was it not related to Suicide Squad?
They were broken up in Suicide Squad?
Well, like the Joker did something, I remember vaguely, and he like left Harley Quinn behind or something, right? Or no? Am I misremembering that? He like abandoned her. I might be misremembering. I just assumed it was that thing that I might have made up in my head about Suicide Squad.
Well, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something, but whatever.
But yeah, not in the movie. They didn't explain.
All right. Any other thoughts before we wrap this one up in a tight little package?
I wasn't a fan of the outfit, the Harley Quinn outfit she was wearing at the end. That's all.
I was sad that they didn't let her reprise her role as Daddy's Little Monster.
Yeah. Or even just like a more classical Harley Quinn. Not classical, but
But this is the new Harley. Just have to deal with it.
Yeah, but like this, or at least something along those lines, because the yellow overall suspenders was, I don't know. That doesn't look like Harley Quinn.
Didn't do it for you, huh?
It was doing it for me.
All right. Well, we're.
One more thing.
Oh.
Ooh. I did for some. Do you guys remember Suicide Squad that much?
I didn't watch it.
Oh.
What?
Well, I wouldn't say.
I guess I can't even use that much of it.
Right. But I will say this. I think from what I remember about Suicide Squad, I think she did a much better. Margot Robbie played a much better Harley Quinn this time around than in Suicide Squad, because I feel like in this one she had more of that kind of like, Mr. J, that kind of almost accent.
Cartoony,
I guess. More cartoonish accent. Whereas I think in Suicide Squad she was just talking like she was Margot Robbie.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I enjoyed that a little bit.
Oh, you didn't like the over accentuated Boston accent?
I don't even know if it's Boston, but
I don't even.
I'm saying I do like that.
Oh, you wanted the playfulness and.
Yeah, I liked that she played it more like how Harley Quinn actually has been portrayed in like the animations. So.
Maybe the reason why she's like that is because she's in love with the Joker, and now that they're broken up, she's more real. But you know what? This is the Harley that you're gonna get. Just eat it, okay?
Okay.
Take your medicine.
Damn. Egg and cheese sandwich. please.
Egg and cheese. That is the real MVP of this movie. Without that sandwich, I think this movie would have been lost.
Yep. It's a saving grace. If you're a fan of egg and cheese sandwiches, go see Birds of Prey, Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, the Harley Quinn story.
I will say there will be there will be a spin-off from this. It's the Harley Quinn and Joker film. It's untitled currently right now, but it has been.
Is it still going to
writing?
Who's going to be Joker?
Oh,
is it Jared Leto still?
I think it's going to be Jared Leto.
Or Leto, whatever.
I don't know. Let him fight it out. See who can get the skinniest.
Ooh.
It's going to be Joaquin
Phoenix.
It's going to be two totally different movies happening at the same time.
Oh, man. Oh, one of them will be a stunt double for the other.
Or they'll just switch off halfway through
the
movie.
Exactly. Halfway through the movie, Joaquin Phoenix becomes the lead, and then Jared Leto becomes the.
And for some reason, Jared Leto's in blackface.
He becomes everybody's stunt double.
This.
Even I'm getting too old for this shit. All right, let's wrap it.
Let's we'll go ahead and exit the spoiler zone. Gentlemen, as always, it's been a pleasure. So tune in next week. We'll be covering Sonic the Hedgehog. As always, I am your host, David.
Oh, I'm Stuart.
And I'm done.
Don't forget to tip your Reiki masters and join us next week. And we'll see you then.
Goodbye.